There was a Learjet crash back in May 10th, 2023. I want to talk about this because I met some Learjet pilots back when I was doing stuff at Scott Air Force Base. The pilots that fly these aircraft are very knowledgeable and experienced pilots. They have a deep understanding of the aircraft and each individual components of it. I just want to say this because this had nothing to do with the actual experience of the pilots during this crash. They told me a story about how they had a complete battery failure, which led to them having no instruments during a night flight, and they had to land with no flaps at a random airport in a different country. So these are very knowledgeable and proud pilots and love what they do. That's why this is so sad, because when I talked to them, they really had a passion and love for the aircraft they flew. Like I said, the crash happened on May 10th, 2023. This happened to a Learjet 36A, and it was a military flight. This happened about a mile southwest of San Clemente Island, and there was 3 passengers on board, and all 3 died. The plane departed Point Mugu Naval Air Station at about 7:23 as the lead aircraft. At about 15,000 feet MSL, the second aircraft noticed that the first one had its flaps partially deployed. They notified the lead aircraft, who acknowledged their call. They then proceeded to raise their flaps, but then noticed a weird odor in the cockpit. The second aircraft then notified them, letting them know that there was smoke coming out of the left side of the cabin, with unidentified fluid also trailing behind them. At this point, this is when the lead aircraft started not being able to maintain headings and altitude. This is when the left side of the aircraft caught fire and they declared an emergency. This is when the second aircraft took lead and tried to guide them to the nearest airport. The last transmission from the lead flight mentioned that they were at 9,000 feet, and that was the last call they ever made. This is when they made a series of descending turns and finally crashed into the sea about a mile out of the island. The water in this area was about 300 feet deep, so you can imagine what that led to. The NTSB reports that the probable cause was a fuel leak that caused the left side of the fuselage to catch fire, leading to the pilots to lose control of the aircraft and crash. The reason I brought this stuff up from earlier is because it had nothing to do with their knowledge or capabilities as a pilot. It was a freak accident that took the lives of 3 proud individuals in the Air Force.